Hello, good morning, everybody. I am Mr. Frederick, the Billionaire Mentor. Okay, welcome to the Billionaire Mentor's View. Today, I'll just be introducing you to this program. The Billionaire's Mentor's View is a podcast for financial education through real estate and investing. Okay, so today we'll be sharing on why the poor remain poor. Why poor people remain poor. I want you to think for a second. Why do poor people remain poor? So I'm going to be giving you 5 points, or rather 5 reasons why poor people remain poor today. In another of our podcasts after this, I'll be answering some difficult questions, and I know you would like to watch it. So if this is your first time you're watching this podcast, I want you to hit the like, follow, and share. So I want you to subscribe if you are watching on YouTube and hit the notification button because you're going to be financially educated through this podcast. Okay, let's get started. Why do poor people remain poor? The first reason why poor people remain poor is very tricky. It's actually called the fear of risk. That's the first reason why poor people remain poor. The fear of risk. And this is because poor people are very intelligent people. But the problem is that their intelligence shows them all the risks that is in an investment so that they will not take it. But rich people think two ways. They don't think only risk, they think possibilities. You see that? So many times you hear poor people telling you that rich people are not wise. And to an extent, it's true. But you see, it is that wisdom that the poor think they have that keeps them poor because they calculate too much and they don't take a step. You see that? I was in a public vehicle a long time ago and I heard some people discussing, and at that time I already had several cars, but I was in public vehicle for some reasons, and they were discussing and they were like, rich people are not wise. So I was listening for a while, and I knew what they were talking about, But the only time I spoke, I wanted to keep them quiet, So I just told them something like, I prefer to be foolish and be rich than to be wise and be poor. So when they heard that, a lot of them were like, wow, which kind of talk is this? I said the wisdom that makes you poor, or the wisdom that keeps a man poor, I'm not interested in that kind of wisdom. And funny enough, it's true. You see, rich people, the risk that rich people take, if you think about them very well, if you calculate very well, you might never take those risks. But sometimes they go all out because risk is the key to success in business. That's why it's called risky. Risk is the key. So what's the second reason, the second point I have why poor people will remain poor? Why will poor people remain poor? Number 2, poor people they lack financial education. Now, when you go to school, what you are taught is how to become an employee, not how to become an employer. You see that? So you don't learn financial education from the school system we have today. So you can only learn financial education by yourself. You have to go online, you have to read some books, and be financially educated. Poor people do not have financial education. And you need financial education to be wealthy. Nobody can get wealthy by mistake. Even people who win lotteries, they lose their money. And people who are not wealthy that inherit wealth, many times, if the system was not, if there is not a system to keep that wealth, because the people do not have financial education, they lose the wealth. They can't keep the wealth to another generation. That's why, till date, over 80% of the world's richest people were self made wealthy people. So now, where are the children of the billionaires and the millionaires of the previous generations? Because they were not wealthy in their minds, they didn't have financial education. So lack of financial education is what makes people poor. So how do you get financial education? You pursue a particular field and find out what the best people in that field has to say. You read book about money. You read book about finances. You find out things about business and how to invest. You find out about when you start studying financial education, you now know the meaning of risk management. You understand the meaning of delayed gratification. That's one of the reason also, because that's the number fifth reason there why people. I will just mention the number fifth reason now why the poor will keep getting poor. The poor do not understand delayed gratification. So the poor seems to eat all they have, and they don't save anything for the future. They don't know how to delay gratification, because if you delay gratification, you will have a reward of saving and investing. People who invested, they could have been able to eat all their money, but they decided to delay gratification. So they were able to invest that money because they delayed gratification. There's a passage of the scriptures that says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall" what? "Inherit real estate." They shall inherit earth. It's only the meek that can inherit the earth. I was listening to a teacher, and he said, many times you see a lot of people receive huge salary, but they will tell you that they are still renting. They do not have houses. But you check our parents of those days, they had little salary, or they made little income, but they had their own houses. It's called delayed gratification. They were able to delay their gratification and put something down. You see that? Say, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall" what? "Inherit the earth." The meek are those people who could discipline themselves and make deposits for real estate. And they will inherit what? The earth. They will inherit real estate. They will become landlords. So, now that is the fourth reason. Rather, that's the third reason why the poor will keep being poor. Poor will remain poor. Number four reason why the poor will remain poor is what we call excusitis. Any man who makes excuses, gives several excuses, is going to be poor in the future. It might not be poor in the near future, but he is definitely going to be poor, except it changes from excusitis. That's the disease of giving several excuses. There are people today who have very good excuses, but no excuse is good enough to fail. I told somebody the other day, no one is going to know you tried your best if you do not have results. So you are going to keep putting the efforts. You are going to keep putting the effort. You see, some people will tell you, like, "I tried it the other time. This is what happened. This is what happened." That was the other time. You need to try it again. There is another scripture that says, "In the morning sow, in the evening withhold not your hand, for you do not know which of them will prosper." You see that now? So if you have sown only in the morning, don't stop there. You need to go again. You need to sow again. Now, there is no such thing as failure. If you make a mistake, if you could not succeed at one point, you are only a failure when you are a quitter. Only quitters fail. I was listening to one of my mentors. This man is so, as in God is blessing him so mightily. He's doing so well in real estate and investing in several businesses. And he mentioned something that transformed my mind. He said he has done 13 businesses in his life, that only 4 worked, and the 4 is still following up with the 4. I was like, what? 13 businesses, 9 failed? That means I have not failed enough. Kentucky Fried Chicken wrote by hand over 1,000 handwritten letters to several restaurants before he got one person that would say, okay, let's try your recipe. That was an old man who was already retired. We give several excuses of past failures, of how other people failed. Even sometimes it's not even we that failed, how other people failed. Excusitis is one of the major reasons the poor will remain poor. So the 5th reason why the poor remains poor and will remain poor is because the poor lack planning. Planning. They don't plan. In order to succeed in life, you cannot succeed without financial planning, financial education, and financial discipline. The financial discipline is where delayed gratification comes in. Okay? So, financial planning is how you plan your finances. If not, you spend everything anyhow and you will have nothing for the future. What do you have for the future? What you invest today, what you save today is what you have for the future. What some people tell you that, how do I start? I do not have anything to start. That's what we'll be dealing with in our next episode. How to start from ground zero, from nothing. You see, some of the people that are poor, that will keep giving excuses, they will tell you, it's because you're already rich. That's why you're talking like that. It's because your dad is rich. Oh, you had somebody to assist you. That's why you're talking like that. Of course. They have assisted you also, but you failed. A lot of people assist a lot of people every day, but they are still failing. People are failing every day, not because there is nobody to assist them, not because there are no advantages, but because they do not know how to start from ground zero. That's why you cannot miss our next episode. We'll be teaching you how to start from zero, from nothing. From nothing. Financial planning is key, which is number 5. The lack of financial planning. You must plan your life. If you do not have any income, you have no business getting married immediately. If you are just struggling to take care of yourself and your wife, you have no business giving birth. You have to plan your life. Financial planning is key. And you can't plan without you knowing anything. So all these things come together. You must have financial intelligence through financial education, so that when you are planning, you can plan intelligently, not just planning anyhow. Because if you will plan with common sense, you will have a common life. So you need resources, you need informations in order to plan your life. That's why you must be financially educated, and it's something you must do yourself. So I want you to respond in the comment section which of these points that keep people poor stood out for you, and which of these points you think as you've seen in a lot of people's lives, or which of them is your major problem. So this is the first time you're following us. I want you to follow, subscribe, share,